Shazam! Fury of the Gods is currently out in the theater. Is it worth seeing? We're going to let you know. Hey guys, welcome back to Fly By Night Reviews. I'm your host, Kiren.
Dom.
Today we're going to review Shazam! Fury of the Gods. It's out in theaters right now. Dom, what did you give us out of 10?
Out of 10, I'd give it about a 7.5. I thought it was pretty fun. How about you?
Yeah, I'm going to give it about, the same, 7.5. I felt like it was really torn apart, with other reviews out there.
Yeah.
I kind of watched one review video
Same here.
to kind of, I was just too curious not to, and I was expecting a lot worse, and I was really surprised on how much I liked it.
Yeah. It was it was unoffensive. It was, it kind of, some of the things were predictable, but I had fun with it.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of, it was your typical comic book movie for sure.
Yeah.
The villains were pretty forgettable in some aspects. And sometimes, that's
kind of a waste of the actors, but yeah.
Yeah, but that's kind of common unless it's Thanos or something, or someone who's just amazing. But overall, I really liked it. I'm hoping it does better, so they at least keep this universe or at least this I know James Gunn took over and he has plans with the DCU and everything, but I hope that this sticks around.
I remember him saying that he was Shazam was kind of off in its own thing, so maybe they'll keep that going if it does well enough. But yeah.
Okay, so that's kind of our review, just overall what we thought of the movie. This next bit is going to be spoilers, so if you haven't seen the film, I suggest you go see it and then come back and you can watch this video and let us know what you think. But yeah, so what did you think of the introduction of the villains?
Go based on for the last movie we did with the 65, and I was just happier that they kind of got things started off a lot quicker. It just starts off with the title, and it's okay, you don't have to wait 15-20 minutes for the title. But no, it was interesting. This is definitely interesting way to introduce the characters in the museum.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of okay, seen this before. They show up and there's this artifact. It's basically the staff that is in the previous movie, the wizard staff. I guess that Merlin, I think his name is? Or...
No, the Wizard Shazam.
Oh, the Wizard Shazam. See, there's a scene where they call him Merlin, and I was figuring, that's his name, right? I'm shows how much I know about these characters. But anyway, they find the artifact, and then they, basically just get the artifact, and it activates it, and then obviously people in the museum are panicking, and then
from Lucy Liu's character, what was it? Calypso.
And she starts whispering in people's ears, and they
they go crazy basically.
Basically their eyes go black, and they sort of almost zombie infection, sort of and then I was just okay, cool. I was not too thrilled about that. I was okay, what else can they do with these characters, And then the bridge scene where they were when you're introduced to the Shazam family, I guess.
Yeah, the reintroduction of them, yeah.
And that was actually really cool. I like that it was very lighthearted.
It was a little cheesy, but yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, it was funny. There was a lot of funny moments in this movie. Surprisingly, the laugh out loud funny. But
we'll get to the best one.
Yeah. But yeah, I think the overall I just love the superhero vibe. It almost felt like a Superman movie.
It was fun. It was fun. Yeah.
Which I kind of I feel the previous Superman movies or even portrayals were missing, and this one kind of was this felt more like a Superman movie than the Superman movies did.
So did the first one,
or the Man of Steel versions or whatever. But
Zack Snyder doesn't know how to write Superman.
Yeah, definitely. If you've seen the first Shazam movie, I thought like Zachary Levi like would have made a great Superman. I mean, especially like just him as Shazam. And it was a little bit more like he's a little bit jokey in the movies, obviously. But it's kind of like that's how it's advertised. There's no like, what you're gonna get with this movie. You know what I mean? And I'm trying to like we have a little note thing. I'm trying to see like what we got here. Okay. Yeah, and then the plot was kind of
Yeah, it's like seen it before, but at least there was an interesting take to it. It definitely seemed like they like kind of leaned more into they kind of turned up like the characters' personalities a little bit more. Like the Freddy character, he's like, okay, this is what your shtick was before. Let's crank it up a little bit more.
Yeah, definitely
lean into it. Yeah,
definitely some aspects that they thought was like really popular in the first one. They were trying to like kind of continue it and make it even more obvious. The one review I did watch, they mentioned there wasn't enough like scenes with them as kids,
right?
And actually, there was only one point in the movie where I was like, "Well, I haven't seen them as kids in a while." But then the end of the movie, you see a lot of the kids, and so I never really like I didn't. If I didn't watch that review, I probably wouldn't have thought anything of it. But thought it was a cool dynamic. But yeah, it's like the plot was just like, okay, get these. I guess what are they? The three sisters,
right?
And they want to. To be honest, I don't even know what do they wanted to do? Like take over the world or. It's like
well, basically I think the oldest and the youngest wanted to restore their dimension, I guess it was.
Yeah.
And then the other one just wanted to have revenge on the human race.
Yeah, and there's this scene where they like get an apple, this golden apple, and it's like, I guess they plant that apple in a baseball stadium. I think it's like Philadelphia baseball stadium, and it like grows this huge tree. And then after that, like all these mythological kind of creatures start popping up out of the branches, and
that was I was really into the all mythical creatures when I was a kid, so that was I enjoyed that part.
Yeah, because usually like the typical comic book movie, like at the end you'll just get those like really generic,
faceless horde of bad guys that they fight.
And this one was like, okay, you saw Cyclops, what was it, the Harpies,
the Manticore, that was really cool.
Yeah, and I thought it was like really a nice change, and how they kind of had the whole Shazam family sort of like as kids in kid form, because during the movie they get like kind of their powers taken away from them like quite often,
which is usually a trope in like comic book movies that I can't stand. Whenever they lose their powers, it's so overdone. But it didn't bother me in this one.
It kind of worked.
Yeah.
And then also just there was this particular scene with unicorns, but the unicorns in this were like, I guess the traditional unicorn where it was like darker, kind of like more evil looking unicorn.
Yeah. But definitely good for unicorn power.
But yeah, we'll let you watch the movie, and kind of there's a certain part that's just like I was laughing hysterically at the theater.
Oh yeah, that was pretty funny.
Because it was just so ridiculous, and it's like what the. But yeah, and then the ending, it was kind of like it basically Shazam and Lucy Liu's character, they're battling within the stadium, and she's riding a dragon the whole time. Very reminiscent of Game of Thrones.
They even make Game of Thrones references throughout the movie.
So that was pretty cool. That battle was actually like, again, I felt like Superman. This is like something that like Superman could be portrayed like this, and they kind of like never gave us that, And
it almost teetered on like the whole like stereotypical comic book movie Skybeam, but not quite. It did it differently enough where it didn't feel like this again. Yeah. And
and then they kind of like he sort of does the Superman from Batman v Superman, the sacrifice thing, but this one is a lot more effective. Shazam basically dies, he kind of sacrifices himself, and they literally bury him. And then I'm thinking, oh crap, like is this like they're gonna go through with it? And then all of a sudden, if you've seen any of the trailers,
especially within the last week.
Yeah, and they freaking show you Wonder Woman in that, and it's like, if you didn't like watch that like trailer, like it would have been a cool surprise. But since I watched the trailer,
I saw the trailer. I saw the trailer yesterday, and it's like, why?
It's like what?
Why?
So it was just totally like, why do they do that? Because it would have been so much cooler, like if it is like, because it seemed like, okay, that was a good spot to have her come in, and she basically grabbed the staff and like gave it an extra power, and then he
rebooted it basically.
Yeah, he came back from the dead basically, but it was very like what's that, lighthearted. He comes out of the ground and everything.
Zombie.
But yeah, I was like, I was a little emotional like when he dies, like and that was pretty cool. I like that. And then of course the end credit scene hinting with the Justice Society.
Yeah.
With some of the characters from
which I know traditionally he's in the comics, he's at least since he became part of DC property, they usually put him in the Justice Society rather than the Justice League.
Yeah, and that was a cool. That was a good chunk of extra after credit scene. I was like surprised, but again, I hope they kind of like continue to have Shazam in the future movies, because I think man, I hope this movie does like better than it has been, like, because it's like really surprising that it's like not more people are liking it, or maybe it's just the critics or something. I don't know, but yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I had fun with it.
Well, that's it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. As always, if you liked the video, be sure to like and subscribe and let us know what you think. Did you like the movie? Leave a comment. We'd love to hear from you. And on that note, we will catch you next time.
Peace.